welcome. Welcome to Level Up with CMJ. Hey, my name is Jonas. This is my Craps Master Dice Shooting Journey. Let's make it yours too. Today is episode number 170 of the Level Up program, day number 11 of the Brown Belt. And if you're playing along with Crapsee, the code is Z5G2M3. And Crapsee did an update this past weekend, so they loaded a new version of the program. So if you have not updated your program, make sure that you go through and update it. There may be problems today if you didn't update it, because I did do my update already. Hopefully it doesn't have any problems today. I know yesterday they were having some problems with Crapsee, so it's going to take a few days to work things out. If you do run into a program, guys, just open a private table and run your own table according to how I do my dice results, and you could still play along. You just won't be able to have an update on your bankroll on my side of things. Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Frida. If you're new to the program here, guys, this is all about learning how to shoot the dice and learn how to practice your trend-based betting system. And as we go through, we try to update things to make it better and to make you a better craps player as well as a craps shooter. Today, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. I've been kind of hinting towards this for a while, and we're going to be using what's called George from CY's Matrix. So let's jump over to the Matrix really quick, and I'm going to probably jump over. I'm going to keep track because my memory is terrible. I have white chips and I have 3 red chips. So that way I can kind of keep track of what's going on. We're going to have 3 chips on here at a time. And I have it set up so if I go with the $1 face in me, this is a primary hit. If it goes this way to the left, 1/4 turn, or pointed towards the left, it's a single pitch. If it's away from me, it's a double pitch. And it's just something I'm going to have to remember. If I use a red chip with the 5 facing me, that means that I'm 1 off axis. If I go to the left, that means that my dice drifted. And if I go with the 5 pointing away from me, that means that I had an explode, a double explode, or a double implode. So I don't know if this is going to work. We'll try it once. Eventually, hopefully, my memory will be such that I don't have to really no sound. I didn't do anything different, so maybe if you need to get out and then get back in, that'll help. But thank you, SJ. Really? You couldn't hear anything at all? Huh. That was a long explanation, guys, for nothing. Wow. Oh, you're right. During the Matrix, there was no sound because I forgot to add the sound. I apologize, guys. Good morning, Coach Joe. So the Matrix, guys, I'm going to be switching back and forth a little bit. And basically what it is if it's on the left side, it says if you throw. If it's on the right side, it says this is how. Let me see if I can set up the sound really quick before we get going here, so that way I can actually flip back and forth. Give me 1 second here, and it'll take me hopefully not too long. Okay, test. Okay, here, hopefully that'll work, guys, for you now. Let me know in the chat if it is working, please. Test. So I'm going to assume that it is working. Okay, good. Really quick with this matrix, if you look on the left side, it says if you throw, and then on the top it says if, and then you throw. On the left side it says on axis, it says both dice off axis, and it says one die off axis. That's the same across the top as well. You got your primary hits, your secondary hits, your double pitches. Drifting is when both dice go the same direction, so one will explode and one will implode. And then this says implode explode. That means where both of them implode or both of them explode, and then one dice off axis is pretty self-explanatory. A secondary hit means that you have a single pitch, by the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go one throw, and we'll record it with those chips like I just said, and then you're going to throw the second one and use the matrix to see which dice set you're going to be doing. So hopefully that will work as we go forward. It's going to be a little bit complicated at first, but now hopefully the sound is working, so if I flip back and forth, you guys can hear me throughout. But let's get started here, guys. We're going to start off with the hardware set because it's the easiest way with the hardware set to see what your dice are doing, whether they're staying on axis, single pitching, double pitching, exploding, imploding. Just got to make sure you follow at least the left or the right dice as we get going. So in the chat, we got Roger, we got Frida, we got SJ, we got Marble Fork, and we got Coach Joe. Welcome, guys. If you're watching YouTube, please make sure that you say hi in the chat. We're going to go $25 pass line bet. We're going to go $5 crap check, and we are going to go 555 on that ATS to start off. And we'll go all bet set. 5454 hardware set. We're going to be using our normal throw today from stick left 1. So we're going to use that Erie grip. And stick left 1 is our throwing position. Dice out. And we got a 2, 1, 3. So the left die was the 2. That's an on axis. And the right one was the 1. Let's get this entered into KPI really quick, and we'll go through and analyze really quick what that was. That's an Alfredo sauce, by the way, and that's a come out loser for a pass line. So again, 5-4. That's a double pitch of that right one, which doesn't matter because we went off axis with the left one, and we came up with a 1, so it was an implosion. So what we would do is with our chips, we would go 1 die off axis. It's a red chip, and I'm going to have the 5 facing me, so that way I can keep track of what's going on. I know it's going to be a little bit kind of confusing at first, but we will hopefully get this going. Good morning, JR. And hopefully we're good to go here. Again, we're going to go $25 pass line bet, and this is going to take me just a few seconds to get going. Again, guys, once we get in a rhythm, it should be no problem. And we're going to go all bet set here. Dice out. And it was a little short on that, and we got a primer hit. We get the 4-4 hard 8 square pair. So now, looking at that matrix, what's going to happen is we had a one die off axis. You go down the left side, it says one die off axis, and then you go over to the primary hit, and it says that we need to use a hard way. So we're going to stay using that hard way dice set to go forward. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So we had a primary, so we'll put that here. And then we're only going to use 3 chips down here. So that way I know. And then when we throw the next one, I'll take this last chip away and we'll just keep on recycling it through. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, it's going to be a little confusing at first. Once we get going, though, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. So we're going to stick with the 5454 hardware set. I'm going to go with a 220 inside bet level at the current moment. I know I talked to Alfredo last night about different betting strategies, and 220 for a $1,000 bankroll to start off with is a little bit spendy. So he had suggested possibly going with a 110 inside bank, or starting and taking 2 hits of that instead of regressing like I am doing right now. So we're going to go 220 inside bet level. We are going to go with $35 in pass line odds. And we're going to call that all bets set. And let's go dice out. So the last one was a primary, so let's see what we throw here. Hit that mixing bowl again, and the left one went off axis this time, and the right one stayed primary. I'm going to see if I can put that up here that way, so that way I know. So we have a 6-5, so it's 1 dice off axis and a primary. So we can just swap these dice, these chips right around, and that'll tell us exactly what we have. So we had a 1 dice, 1 primary for the first one, and a dice off axis for the second one. So we had a primary and then 1 off axis. So we stick with that hard way set. Okay, so far the hard way set is treating us well. And remember, the dangerous part of this hard way set is the double pitch of any combination. The double pitch is what is the killer for this dice set. And we got a 6-4-10. That would be Waylon's best friend weighing it in, Daddy Joe. So that 6-4 again is that 1 dice off axis in that primary. So we're going to stick with that hard way set. So we got 2 red chips out there, both of them facing me this time. Again, we're going to stick with that same bet level. We are still looking for an inside hit so we can do a regression. Now, some people think that this is a lot of switching back and forth with dice sets, but once you get going, I think, like right now we're sticking with this hard way set, but once you get going, it's actually going to be mostly 3V dice sets, or 2V or cross 6s. Remember, the 2V, cross 6s, and the 3V are all part of the same dice family. And we kind of went through that earlier on in the brown belt level. That was one of the things that I did talk to you guys about. And we got a 6-2 this time. That would be the Duracell 8. Go out and support live craps. So again, we got 1 die off axis. So we're going to stick with this hardware set. It's a 6-2. So what happened was, and that was by our way, that was our point. So what happened is that left die imploded, and the right die double pitch, and that double pitch does not matter when you get that implosion or explosion here. So sticking with that hard way set, and we're gonna go down in our pass line down to $15 now. We're gonna go with a $3 craps check. And we are going to call that all bets set and dice out. So once we start getting a different result in our dice roll, then we'll go back to that matrix and see what the next thing is going to be. But so far we've been doing one die off axis. Let's regrip it. Did not feel comfortable. And this is a come out here. And the goal of using this matrix is to extend the length of our rolls and hopefully give it some better roll quality. We have a 314 Big Joe from Craps Master Journey. So that is, again, one die off axis, guys. And that is our left die is continuing to stay off axis. At first, it started with our right die was a one die off axis. Now it's been our left die for a while here. So our point is 4 now. We're going to reduce our bet since we took a hit before. We're going to go to the 154 inside bet level. And that's going to be 35 on that 5 and 9. We got 42 on that 6 and 8. Again, we were one die off axis. We're going to stick with that hard way set. And we got all that set. Coach Joe's question is, do you consult the matrix after a technically poor throw? I would say no. Mechanics come first. If you know you're throwing bad, make sure that you work on mechanics and get your landing zone down and your release down, all that stuff. Use what you, and this is why, guys, working the level program is so important, because you can find out what your dice are doing, at least you think you can, by just watching them, by listening to the sound of it landing, all those types of things. And you'll know if it's a good throw or not, because you hear me occasionally say, oh, that was a terrible throw, or even in midair, it's going to hit whatever, so great question, Coach Joe. Very good question. And that is my opinion in that answer. I did not consult George regarding that question or anything like that. But that, to me, just makes common sense. Dice out. And again, we have both dice off axis now. We got magic aces. Neither one of them touched the back wall. I would consider that still, even though they didn't touch the back wall, I would still consider that a good throw. They came down low energy. I just didn't throw them far enough, basically. But everything would have been the same. So that was both dice off axis. So let's go see what that is now. So we had one die off axis and we had both die off axis. So let's use that matrix on the bottom, one die off axis, over going across the other way. We have a choice now. We have either, well, that was, we have to go the drift or export input. So we had on that one, the left die exploded, the right die imploded. So that would be considered a drift. And if you look at that, we still are going to stick with the hard way set on that drift. So again, these hard ways are pretty consistent so far. And we're going to go all bet set here. And dice out. So again, this is the whole goal of this, is to help prolong and hopefully make the roll quality better. And we got a 617, ouch. So that one is both dice off axis, and that was that double pitch that we dread so much. So we had both die off axis and then both die off axis here. So let's see what we're going to go with for that. And this is where it kind of gets confusing, but once I get this chart members, I don't think it'll be as big of a deal. So we had both die off axis on the one, which was a drift. And this one was a one implode, one explode. I believe that we're going to go with a V set now with that result. Now, and again, guys, this is going to be all new to me. This is all practice for me as well. So we're going to go with the red chip facing away from me. And we're going to go with the left chip facing to the left, red chip to the left. So we're going to go to our V set now. So the V set is obviously the 3236 dice set. So hopefully what we're trying to do is we're trying to hone in and improve the roll quality and the length of the roll. The first one we got to 8 rolls, so it is what it is. We'll see. Again, this is not a guaranteed foolproof way of doing things, but hopefully over time it will show some significant improvement. So let's go all bets set here. And we got 3, 2, 3, 6, the 3V dice set this time. And dice out. And we got a 2, 1, 3. The left die was the 2. And that is a come out pass line loser. So let's get that entered in Crapsee. And now this is where it's going to be starting to get harder for me to interpret things. Remember that left die was the 2 and the right one was the 1. So remember we went with the 3, 2, 3, 6. And that was just a single pitch of the left die. And that was a single pitch of the right die. So ultimately it came out to be a double pitch. So it was on axis and it was a double pitch. So if we go with the both dice off axis, implode, explode, and then we go to a double pitch on the on axis ones there, we're going to use either a V set or hybrid. And I don't have a hybrid dice set up. So what we are going to do is we're going to stick with that V set right now, and we will continue forward with that. So $25 pass line bet. $5 craps check, which that craps check did pay out the last one. And we're going to go with the 3V dice set. We had the 555 intact. And all bet set. So hopefully this is making a little bit of sense to you guys. I know this whole week will be kind of a little bit of mix up until we can get it down smooth going forward. And we have OMC Craps, all the dots and all the spots, midnight. So another Craps number we got, and that was again both dice off axis. So the last one was a double pitch. This is going to be both dice off axis. So we had a 3-2, so there was an explosion on that right die, or left die, I'm sorry, and a single pitch on the right die. So that would be on that one we had a double pitch, and then we went to 1 die off axis. So if you look at double pitch, 1 die off axis, it says kissing sets. So my kissing sets, the dice set that I've come up with, and guys, remember the purple belt is where we went through all the different dice sets. Good morning, Waylon. Good morning, Uncle Hoku. Remember the purple belt is where we went through all the different dice sets, and we found different dice sets that work for us. So our kissing set's going to be the 4-2-2-4 is what we're going to try for this. So let's give that a shot. Again, this is still come out, so we're going $25 pass line bet. $5 craps check, 555, and the ATS is still intact. We'll go all bet set. 4-2-2-4 is the dice set. And we got the 4-4 heart 8 square pair, so that'll be our new point. So that is going to be a single pitch of the die. We had a 4-2-2-4, and that single pitch of the die there is going to show us. So we had 1 die off axis on the left side here now, and a single pitch, which is a secondary. So we go back to our hardware set. So let's go back to our hardware set, which is that 5-4-5-4, and this is where it starts getting confused a little bit until we get smooth operation going here. We're going to go with that 220 inside bet level. And it's going to be $50 on the 5 and 9, $60 on the 6. We're going to go $35 on the pass line odds, and all bet set. Good morning, Bam. Good morning, Waylon, Uncle Hoku. think it's caught up for everybody. So 5454 hard reset. And again, I'm trying this, guys, here for the first time as well. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Left die stuck, but we have a 5-4, and that would be an on-axis throw, and that would be a primary. I'm sorry, not a primary, a secondary hit. So that's a single pitch. This is where it's going to be hard to remember everything. So we had a secondary and a secondary. So we go with our V set now. Secondary and a secondary is a V set. So 3, 2, 3, 6. I think once we get this memorized, it shouldn't be too hard. So we're going to go, that was a hit on the 9. So we're going to drop our bets down to the 154 inside bet level. And we're going to go with $15 in pass line odds. Call it all bet set. 3, 2, 3, 6 is the dice set now. And dice out. So I did not get to the casino this weekend. I've been trying to go on Sundays. This week was not a good weekend to go. And we have a leaner, but we have a 2-1-3. That would have came down on a 1, it's not a 2-5, guys, it's a 2-1. And that would be the Alfredo sauce, which helps us with that. That does not help us with the ATS. So we're going to stick with that 3V dice set. 2-1 would have been. That was a double pitch. So that would have been a double pitch of the dice. So 3-2, 3-6. Sticking with the 3V dice set, and we'll go all bets set here. And dice out. So you remember double pitch. And that's one of the things I'm doing is having a hard time remembering. I'm not even doing these chips. I don't know why. We had a double pitch as our last throw, and dice out. And we have a 5-5 hard 10. That would be the Old Bay Bushel. So let's see what that is, because the last one was a double pitch. So we got 3-2, 3-6. So that was 1 die off axis. So if we go double pitch and then 1 die off axis, so we have a double pitch. On the left side, we have 1 die off axis. On the right side, we go back to that kissing sets. So 1 die off axis is our last one to remember. We're going to go all bet set. We're going to go with the 4-2, 2-4 dice set. And all bet set. And we got a left die of a 1, a right die of a 4. So it's a 1-4-5. That would be the horse and buggy. And quickly analyzing it, we had the 4-2, 2-4 dice as we'll start off with. So that's the left die exploded. The other one stayed on axis. So we had 2 1 die off axis here. So on the left side, 1 die off axis on the bottom there. Go across, 1 die off axis on the way right side. So we're going to go over to that hard way set. So back to the 5-4-5 for hard way set, and we remember 1 die off axis. And that's going to allow us to come down on our bets as well. And we're going to go down to 66 inside bet level now. So we are not going to pick up any pass line bets. We're going to call that all bets set. We have 134 brought back to the rack. We have 88 on the table. And here we go. So we were 1 die off axis. And we have a 4-2. That would be a 2x4. And that's a single pitch or a secondary hit. So if we go one die off axis and then we go a secondary hit, we're going to stick with that hardware set. We'll get this entered in on Crapsee. So sticking with that hardware set. And that was a hit on our bets. So we're going to go to $30 on that 6. A lot of stuff to remember to do today, going back and forth, back and forth. Uncle Hoku made a comment on here, says, thank you all for supporting Help Maui Fire on HCS the past weekend. You are all blessed. If you guys didn't check it out, Brian from Hawaii Crapshooters went live this weekend a couple times, and I believe he raised almost $4,000 towards the Helping Maui Fire. He was telling stories about the fire and how sudden it came through, that their emergency alert systems were not effective enough because it came and hit the island so hard, so fast, that the only savior that people had was actually jumping into the ocean and getting out of the path of the fire. And he was talking about some 80-year-old guy that was in a wheelchair that they actually had to throw in the ocean and have him swim in that because that was their only method of reprieve. So, guys, if you didn't check it out, check it out. If you have the opportunity and the will and the way to help support the Maui Fire Fund, make sure that you find a way to do so, because I'm sure the money would be very thankful for very appreciated. So we're going to stick with that hardware set. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, CRC. We were live, or we were talking really late last night. Alfredo had an after show, and it was Alfredo, CRC, myself, and I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but it was really good conversations. Thanks out. Wow, that was a terrible throw, guys. That left one hit that back wall and just kept on rolling, did not stop. We have a 617. Now, to answer Coach Joe's question from before, if you have a terrible throw, do not include it on the matrix, and that would consider that a terrible throw. Because like I said, that was too close to the wall and the dice just hit and just went. So Dylan was there, and there was one other gentleman, CRC, Kevin. I cannot remember that guy's gentleman's name though. And he listens to my live stream in the morning while he's at work. So we're gonna stick with that 5454 hardware set. And we're gonna start the matrix over again because I can't even remember what I threw the time before. So starting fresh here, guys. Brian, thank you. That is exactly 100% right. That Brian. So okay, and we'll go $25 pass line bet. We're gonna go $5 craps check. We're gonna go 555 on the ATS. And all bet set. In fact, Darwin was on the after call, and I didn't even recognize him at first. He looked like a combination between Darwin and Daddy Dave from Casino Quest. And I was trying to rack my brain who that guy was. And he had his thing on his screen tag was called Mr. Do's iPhone. So it was kind of funny. I felt kind of goofy actually. So 5454 hardware set coming out, looking for a new point. Thanks out. And this has been a very long rollout today, guys. I apologize. We'll get the sped up a little bit. So we have a 6410, Waylon's best friend on the end, Daddy Joe. So that's going to be one die off axis. So remember, one die off axis. We're going to stick with that hardware set again for our next roll. We're going to go with the 220 inside bet level. So one die off axis, 5454 hardware set, and I'll bet set. Dice split apart. Let's regrip them. And we got a 5-1. So that's going to be one die off axis. That right one went off axis again. So we had 2 one die off axis rolls. So one die off, one die off. That's going to be sticking with that hard way set. And that's also going to allow us to collect our first one and come down on our bets to the 154 inside bet level. So let's get that set up. Again, we're sticking with that hard way set, 5-4, 5-4. So it's one die off axis was our last roll. And let's see what the next one is. Good morning, Dusted One. And I'll bet set. They sucked. So if you're playing along with Crapsee and you're having problems, make sure you go and update the app. They did update it this past weekend. I know they had several problems with the update. And I guess they're going through and trying to make some fixes. So we had one dice off axis. We have another one dice off axis. We have the 628 Duracell 8. And that is another collect for us. And we are going to be able to go down on our bets. Again, one die off axis, one die off axis is going to stick with that hard way set. And we're going to bring our bets down. We're going to go to 66 inside. So we have 114 brought back to the rack. We have 106 on the table. And one die off axis, one die off axis. Again was, I believe, that hard way set. Let's just double check. It is our hard way set. And all bets set. 5-4, 5-4 hard way set. So hopefully this is the pace that we can get up to now. It's just the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and keep her going. Nice out. And we have another one die off axis. We have the 415. That would be the horse and buggy. So this is where we can get a little bit of a rhythm going. Again, one dice off axis and one dice off axis is going to be that hard way set. That's in the bottom right corner of the matrix. And that was a 5, so we're going to bring that 5 up to $25. And we're doing a little bit of recovery because that first shooter, we did lose some money off of it. So we're going to do a little bit of recovery. Normally I would do a sister press here, but now we're only doing a single press here. So we're going to stick with that hard way set again. And all bet set. Dice out. And a little bit hoppy there. The dice crossed. The left one was the 1, and the right one was the 3. So let me get that situated here so we can bring it over and show you guys on camera the correct way. 1, 3, 4, Big Joe from Craftsmaster Journey. Again, that's one dice off axis. So we are consistently doing one dice off axis. That does nothing for our money other than help us with that ATS. We need the 2 and 3 for the small. We need the 9, 10, and 12 for the tall. Good morning, Duracell. And we've got 9 people playing along in Crapsee. And we've got 19 people watching currently on YouTube. So we're going to stick again with that one dice off axis because that was with the hard way set. I'm sorry, because that was one die off axis. 5-4, 5-4, and I'll bet set. So I'm actually using the hard way set and the kissing set a little bit more than I expected. I was expecting to be majority with the 3V dice sets, but again, it's going to depend on what we're doing with our dice rolls. Dice out. And again, the dice cross. This time the right one went off axis. We have a 415 again. So that would be the horse and buggy once again. Again, one die off axis keeps us at that hard way set. 5-4, and that one was a little bit of a wild throw, the way they came off that back wall. Again, we're going to go with 5 up to $35. It's a partial collect, partial press. 170 brought back to the rack, 126 on the table, all bets set. And we got the hard way set. Dice out. And we have got OMC Craps, all the dots and all the spots, midnight. So that one is going to be both dice off axis. Let's figure out how it went. I believe that was a drift. So we have 5-4, 5-4 is what we started with. And so that was an explode and an implode. So remember, we had one die off axis and we have a drift, which is both die off axis. So we had one die off axis on the bottom. We go over to the drift, which is sticking with that hard way set. So both die off axis is a drift. We stick with that hard way set. And we're going to go all bets set here. That definitely helped us with that ATS. All we need to get is that 11 and 9 for the tall, the 2 and 3 for the small. So back at the hard way set, drift is our last throw. And all bets set. Dice out. And the left one went off axis again. So we have one die off axis and a drift. So we had the 156 horse, but that would be a mixer. So we went from a drift to a one die off axis. So that is going to be back to the hard way set. So let's remember one die off axis, hard way set. And we are going to be able to press that 6 up to $30. All bets set. Dice out. So again, this matrix, guys, good morning, Easy. This matrix, guys, make sure you screenshot it so you can make references back to it as well if you decide to use it. I also have it showing on, and the dice clacked together. They bounced together. They landed so tight together. We have the 5-4 hard 9 Big Mac. But make sure you go back and either screenshot from this video here, or you guys can use the brown belt video, and a brown belt video will have it as well. So we have the 5-4. So we had one dice off axis. Now we have a secondary. So one die off axis and a secondary. Says stick with the hard way set, which is that bottom row, second over to the left, or from the left. And that's going to allow us to go to $25 on that 9. So we have 3 of our 4 bets pressed right now. If we hit anything other than the 8, we're going to try to bring up, come up on that 4. 212 brought back, 148 on the table, all bets set. So I think we had a secondary, was that last one there? And CRC is saying, thanks for sharing the charts. Guys, all the thanks and all the work goes to George from CY. George from CY is the one that came up with the charts and the idea. And he actually did this probably almost close to a year ago when I had received it from him. And we're finally getting to use it. The dice crossed on us. We have, again, one die off axis. That's a 1, 5. Actually, the left one was the 5, and the right one was the 1. So we have the mixer here, guys. 5-1 mixer. Again, one die off axis. 2 times in a row equals hard way sets. And again, this is all based off of information from George from CY. So we're going to see how it works for us. You know, at first it seems very confusing, but we're going to stick with it because I think we can get this to work. We're going to go to $42 on that 6. You know, as normal, every time you do something new or different, it does have a little bit of a learning curve to it. We're up to 20 people on YouTube here, and we're still at 9 people on Crapsee. All bet set. So everything does have a learning curve when you do start, and I think this learning curve should be relatively short going forward with this. So far, we've been using primarily hardware sets. Terrible throw. I like the result though. We got the 6-2 Duracell 8, and that left one was the 6. The right one was the 2. That was again one die off axis, so that means we stick with that hardware set. And the reason I call it terrible throw is because they both went down, they landed, they stuck, they didn't bounce forward like we want them to do. Good morning, Chris, Demon Dog Chris. Sticking with that hardware set. So we got one die off axis again. Remember, one die off axis, and that was the 8. So we're going to go to $30 on that 8. And now all of our bets are pressed up on the inside. Again, the next hit we're going to pick up that 4 now. And all bets set, dice out, hardware set, 5-4-5-4. Wow, that was a little bit long on that. But again, one die off axis. We have the 2, 1, 3, the ace deuce. And we are very close to getting that small. Again, one die off axis means we stick with that hardware set. All we need to do is pick up the magic aces for the small. We need the mid-mo yo for that tall. So we're very close to getting that ATS. We're on roll number 13 with this. And I've been keeping track, guys, of the rolls, not in Bone Tracker, but I have an Excel spreadsheet. I'm trying to figure out a way to share this with you guys on screen with OBS. I was working on that this morning, and I had it almost figured out before I had to go live, so I had to stop working on that. But we're getting close to what my initial goals were, even though they are very tough and pretty high standards. But I'm going to share those results with you guys, hopefully daily, so you guys can see the transparency into throwing in that. So 5-4-5-4 hardware set, I'll bet set, dice out. So we had one die off axis the last time. And the dice crossed again on me. And this time we got a primary hit. So we have a 4-4 heart 8 square pair. And so we had one dice off axis, and then we went to a primary. So we stick with that hardware set. And since that was the 8 that hit, we're going to press that up to $42 on the 8. Oops, no, I said we are going to pick up that 4. I forgot about that. So let's pick up the buy 4 for 20 bucks. So that way we have that covered. 303 brought back to the rack, 192 on the table. And we're getting to the point now where hopefully we should be making more and collecting more than we're actually putting back out on the table there. Good morning, Nemo. And we got all bets set. Dice out. And we got a 2-3-5. That would be a single pitch of the dice. That is the no field 5. So last one we had was a primary, right? Yeah, we had a 4-4, and then we went to a single pitch. So primary on the left side there, and then a single pitch. So now we go to that V set. So we're in the top row, second column in, V set. And that was a 2-3, by the way. So that's for Crapsee. And we're going to be able to press that 5 up to $60 now. So we'll go to 3-2, 3-6 dice set. All I do is move that left die around a little bit. I'll bet set. And dice out. So hopefully I can get this down so we can start using this when I'm down in Chicago in 2 weeks. Dice out. And we have a 4-2. That would be the 2x4. So again, with this, we had the 3-2, 3-6, and then we ended up with a 4-2. So that was an explosion with that right die, and that was a double pitch. So we have one die off axis with that. So we went from, what was that, a secondary to a one die off axis. So let's get the dice entered in on Crapsee there. It was a 2-4 or 4-2. And we went from a secondary to a one die off axis. So secondary, one die off axis, we go back to that hardway set. And that was a 6, so we're going to press that 6 up to $66. Again, hardway set, 5-4, 5-4. We're still looking for that 2 and that 11. That would be nice if we can hit the mid-mo yo. 401 brought back to the rack, 241 on the table. All bets set. Good morning, Navaldo. And here we go. And we have a 3-2-5. That'd be the no-fill 5, and that is a single pitch. So we went from one die off axis to a secondary. So one die off is a secondary. We stick with that hardway set. 3-2. So one secondary is the dice that we got to remember. That was a 5, so we're going to go up to $90 on that 5 now. So we're starting to realize a little bit of pressing going on here. 45 brought back, 271 on the table. 5-4, 5-4. Remember secondary. And all bets set. So apparently Nemo used chopsticks to throw the dice. Okay. Guess that's one way of doing it. I don't think that's completely legal on the table though, so haha. Dice out. And we've got magic aces. That would be the 1-1-2. And guys, I believe that is going to be the small. So let's light that screen up green, and there we go. Half of that screen is green. Awesome hit. Awesome hit. But that is not good for the dice results. So we've got 5-4, 5-4. And last one was one dice off axis, I think it was. And we had the drift. So they both drifted. So we go from one dice off axis to a drift. No, that we went from a secondary. I'm sorry, from a secondary to a drift. So we're going to go over to that V set. We're going to go over to that V set. So I like to see that, guys. That was a nice collect for us. That's going to do nothing for our bets other than collecting on the ATS. So we're going over to the 3-2, 3-6 dice set. And all bets set. So let's get that yo, like Jen said. That should be relatively easy to hit here, especially with this V set, but it's been eluding us. Come on, Cheryl, bring your thoughts and prayers and everything down to the Jonas CMJ craps table. Dice crossed on me, but we got the 4-5 Big Mac hard 9. So we used the V set, the 4-5 here. I think we did a drift was the last one, so I got to remember that, guys. And we had a drift, and 2, 3, 6 is the dice that we used. we had a 4 on the left side, so that was a double pitch, and we had a 5, which is a implosion. So that's going to be a drift 1 dice off axis. So we had a drift over to 1 dice off axis, so that means we go back to that hard way set. And that was a 9, so we're going to be pressing up our 9 to $35. Good morning, Red Eye. Good morning, Alfredo. Yeah, it might work. Again, I think this, guys, is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but once we get it down, I think it's going to be pretty easy to remember, especially if you practice this on a regular basis. So Greg asked Nemo to do the chopstick throw on his rig. I'm assuming Greg is 555 craps. What are we doing here? I don't even know. Let's go to the hardware set. I don't even know. I lost track here what we're doing. So hardware set 5454. And let's just start everything all over here, guys, because I'm getting a little sidetracked. Our row is extending pretty long. This is going to be row number 19. Looking for a mid-mo-yo. And we got a 314 Big Joe from Craps Master Journey. So the left one was a 3, the right one was a 1. So there's 1 die off axis. So that's going to stick with that hardware set, 3-1. And we're going to press that 4 up to a quarter. And thus far, this chart is seeming to help out a little bit. So that was 1 die off axis. Got to remember that. We're going to stick with that hardware set. 5454, 709 brought back to rack, 281 on a table. And all bet set. We're up to 26 people watching on YouTube. It seems like people are starting to wake up and they're starting to come over to watch YouTube. So all bet set. 1 dice off axis, 5454. That was a little bit short, and that was kind of weird. It looked like the dice were going to cross, and then they corrected themselves. Well, we have the 4-2-6, the 2x4, so there's a single pitch. So we went from 1 dice off axis to a single pitch. So on the bottom, or 1 die off axis, single pitch is the secondary, sticking with that hard way set. So we had the 2-4. And we're going to be able to press that 6 up to $90 now. So the 6s and 5s look like they're the hot numbers right now. So sticking with the hardware set, and that was single pitch. So secondary, we got to remember that. And all bet set. We get dice out. Looking for the mid-mo-yo. Here we go. They hit the back wall really super close, and they crossed over. So the 3 is the left one, the right one is a 2. So we got a 3-2-5. That would be the no field 5, and it's also another single pitch. So let's go over, look at it. We got a secondary and a secondary. We're going to go over to that V set now. So we're going to go to the 3-2-3-6, and let's record this as a 3-2-5 on Crapsee. And again, we're going to go press this one. We're going to go up to $120 on that 5 now. So that was a nice collect. 912 brought back to the rack. 305 on the table. Let's see what it's going to be after we get this press. So we got 335 on the table. Still looking for that mid-mo-yo. And we're going to 3-2-3-6. And that last one was a single pitch, a secondary. So we got to remember secondary, 3-2-3-6. And we got a 5-1 mixer. We hit that 6 again. So we had a secondary, and the 5-1 was a single pitch and a double pitch. So it's going to be ultimately a that's going to be a double pitch. So we went from a secondary to a double pitch. So let's see what that looks like. Secondary to a double pitch. So that's our V set again. And we had the 5-1 we'll put that in Crapsee here. And that's going to allow us to go to 120 on that 6. I thought I went to 120 last time. Apparently I didn't. Oh, we went to 120 and a 5. So we have the 6 up to 120 now. That's nice. So we had a single pitch. We're sticking with that 3V set. 3-2, 3-6. And we had a double pitch. Double pitch we had. Okay. And I'll bet set. So double pitch. 3-2, 3-6. And we have a 4-2-6 this time. 2x4. So we've got 4-2. So went from 3-2. That's a double pitch. And I don't even know why I didn't figure that one out. 3-6 was an explode. So we have a double pitch to a 1-die off axis. So a double pitch to 1-die off axis. We go to our kissing sets now. And our kissing set's going to be the 4-2-2-4. We're going to enter in on Crapsee 4-2-6. This is where it starts getting confusing with me when I start switching the stuff around here like this. The Volva is not a feature of Bone Tracker. That actually comes from George from CY. Make sure you screenshot that if you want to try doing that. It's a pretty good chart so far. At least for me, it's working well. That 6 got paid out. We're going to go to 180 on the 6, by the way. So we're going to drop in. So we're up to 180 on that 6, 1157 brought back to rack, 425 on the table. So hopefully that helps. Involved. Make sure you screenshot that and give it a shot once. And we're going to go 4-2. That was a I don't know. We're going to start with the hardware set again, guys. I've lost my my focus here. 5-4-5-4 hardware set. And I'll bet set. Nice out. Dice are crooked. Let's regrip them. Nice split apart, and we ended up with a 5-2-7. Bruce, do not become shark bait. So I think that was a mess up on my behalf because I lost track of where I was at. But the roll comes to an end, guys. It was a successful roll. All we did is we missed getting that mid-mo yo. That would have been the all and the tall. We made $732 on that. Let's go over to our statistics screen and see where we ended up for the day. So we had 3 shooters today. We had the box numbers. Inside numbers are a little bit higher than expected. 4s and heads are a little bit lower than expected. Come out 7s are non-existent today. Horns are high. Fields are average. Hardways are almost average. And it shows a little dark side play today, which really surprised me. I don't know if I agree with that whatsoever. We have an SOR of 13.7, SRR of 13.7. Our 6s, 5s, and 3s were very high today. 7s are really low. 8s were expected. So pretty good statistics here so far for today. And it was a pretty good successful first run for this. Dusted one ended up with a 630 increase. I beat you for once, my friend. That never happened, so let me take some credit here. Red Ice is just so you know, just my opinion. As you know, everyone has one. LOL. George is the best I have ever watched in my life. George is extremely talented, very, very, very good dice shooter, and he's what makes George the coolest thing. What makes George really the coolest thing is because he is extremely willing to share whatever he has with the craps community, because his main goal is just trying to improve this community, to try to make it better than it was yesterday, if you will. So, I mean, props goes out to George. Red Eye asked me to put the chart back up, so that is the chart here. Make sure you take a screenshot of this, and you guys can use it as you will. So, hey guys, my name is Joe. This is my Craps Master dice shooting journey. Let's make it yours too. Have a great day, everyone. Make sure in about an hour you go over to John's Casino Gaming TV and watch his coffee and craps. Have a great day.